Hello again. This is Matthew Ewing, returning in the new year. Today is January 8th of 2012. What I perceive to be the marquee year in the evolution of our species. I'm going to continue as we've begun. We've done 2 series so far. The first one was on foundations, and it allowed us to, in essence, get a feel for how I've chosen to access and interpret information in this reality. The second one was on transformations, which is basically philosophy on how to apply what you gain from accessing the information in that way. The third one in the series that we're going to cover now, or enter into, is that of paradoxes. I'm going to take a little time here because there's something very interesting that I've perceived while I was preparing for this particular series. It's that it's uncharted territory. I'm legitimately entering into the void with this one. No one, at least that I have encountered thus far, is capable or willing to actually get in front of what a paradox is and to describe it in such a way that it makes it relevant to the average human life. And I'm going to do just that. First of all, a paradox is a constitutional contradiction, something that exists in such a way that it is painfully obvious that it shouldn't be able to exist that way within the pre-described limitations of our reality. The answer to that is obviously either the limitations that we placed on our reality are false and not in fact limitations, or that that thing doesn't actually exist. We're going to speak about the very first primal paradox, the prime paradox. And that's, how do you get something from nothing? See, this is a very important one because it's never actually addressed. We always assume, and we start with when the something is created, when the existence comes into fruition, then we start our mental process, or at least our identification process from there. Never realizing that in order to truly understand the nature of your existence, you have to reconcile all of the parts of how it got there. The nature of something from nothing goes to the very nature of what it means to be in existence in the first place. So the question, again, is how is it possible to get something from nothing? All you have to do is look around you, legitimately. If you looked at the night sky, you would see that there's far, far more nothing in existence than there is something. Even for all of the vastness of the amount of stars that are in our galactic system, our galaxy is but a speck floating in a vast, vast ocean of space that exists on all dimensional realities, meaning it's around it, it's above it, and it's also within it. Truly, the ratio is about 99.9% space to 0.01% actual material light-based existence. Tell me then, how is it that we could possibly validate that the material is righteously the focus for defining the reality of existence? The question again is, how do you get something from nothing? The answer, the obvious answer, always go with the simplest, is, well, you don't. You get nothing masquerading as something. That masquerade process came into fruition in one single instant, and it's been expanding ever since. It's the prime creation. The prime creation that made this paradox very apparent. If there was no light material, legitimately everything would continue to be the bottomless space. But because there is something that appears to be different than the nothingness, the void, then it creates the tension necessary for that to stay in existence. And the way that the prime creation, the initial unfolding infinite creation, continues, it perpetuates its existence by, in essence, ignoring the fact that, well, it shouldn't exist, or it doesn't exist. These are uncomfortable, most often, thoughts for most people, because they base all of their reality, all of their worldview, their life view, on the fact that they do exist, that is the one provable constant for all things. Unfortunately, though, the facts dispute that entirely. If you go down to the most minute level of material that we are capable of, let's say, weighing and measuring, actually testing at this point, the atom. The atom legitimately is composed of 0.01% matter, the nucleus, 99.9% empty space, and then the outer range orbiting that nucleus in the middle and the empty space that surrounds it are electrons that pop in and out of existence through multiple dimensional realities. So they never even truly exist in any one reality in the solid form. See, the illusion of solidity is what creates the paradox. And the paradoxes are what allow the illusions to continue to be created. They're the structure, the scaffolding with which all of the constructs of light are created. They're the bones, in essence. The paradoxes allow a constancy so that the randomness of light can unfold itself in the widest range of possibilities without flying apart altogether. It's what provides the tension, the conflict, in essence, the gravity. The gravity is legitimately the paradox enacting, working on the material that has been created or allowed to be created by that paradox. So we're still in the first one of something from nothing. And at this point, what we're discussing is the pretense of solidity. This is the mind concept. The body concept was the infinite creation, the initial creation from nothingness, which was the infinitely expanding light. The pretense of solidity has been proven over and over again. We've actually already discussed it, but never take my word for it. Vet this. Check it on your own and see if what I'm saying resonates with you as truth. There is nothing that is actually solid. Even those things that appear to be solid, like our body, like rock and stone, are in fact only composed of hundreds of billions of particles, photons of light, that is vibrating at a very, very slow frequency in order to appear to be solid, in order to densely pack itself close enough together that it does not allow other forms of light to pass through it. Instead, it repels them, it reflects them by pushing out a magnetic field that pushes against other magnetic fields. Here's another one for you. We don't ever actually touch anything in this reality. Our atoms, the atoms that make up our body, don't come into physical contact with anything. What we experience as touch sensation is in fact the repulsion of electromagnetic energy against each other. You can You can play this out in real time. Take two magnets of like polarity and push them together. That force that repels them apart is the paradox enacting in this reality, saying, you know what? No. Because if I allowed you to come together, the paradox no longer holds true and everything returns once again to nothing. It unravels. That's precisely where we're heading. We're heading to the point of understanding that we're not in fact light. Most of what we are is space, empty space. But we're not even in fact that. Because the space that is inside of the light is a mated pair, the light and the darkness, work together in order to create this illusion of solidity. Once both of them have learned everything that they can from that illusion, then you're going to get a return to the actual state of reality, which is a contented stillness that needs not move because it understands and has enacted every single movement and knows where it begins and ends. That needs not speak because it knows all words, all things. They arise in it simultaneously and it need not vocalize them because all of the substance of that speech is already delivered. See, once you get to the understanding of sort of the illusionary nature of reality, then it becomes abundantly clear that the limitations that you've placed on that reality cannot hold. That is also a paradox. How could something that is by its very intrinsic nature unlimited come with limitations, come with rules, come with confines? Does light have confines? Are there places where it cannot go? More specifically, does darkness have confines? Are there off-limit areas to it? Because even within the light, there is darkness. Once you begin to ask the right questions, then the answers become obvious and you can relate them to your life. You are legitimately an infusion of light and dark. So where are your limitations? Where do they exist? And how is it that they continue to hold sway? This brings us to the totality concept for this evening. The paradox that we've discussed today is how do you get something from nothing? This is the question, legitimately, that validates every form of religious rite on this planet. When people can answer this question for you, when they give you some sort of prepackaged, cute, wrapped up answer that says, well, you get it because there was a being that existed that is outside of both light and darkness who then enacted light onto this planet. No. That is irrational. If not, obviously wrong. Proven to be wrong. What is both rational and most probably correct is that the nothingness itself decided, you know what? I've existed for all eternity as a vast reservoir of potential. I'd like to express some of that and see how it goes. Bang! That thought, that concept sparked all of creation. And you are the unfolding process of that continued thought that still perpetuates and echoes in all of the light material that is unfolding in this reality. You are a condensed version of that concept. Now from that initial birthing concept, other versions, other questions have arisen. Other concepts have arisen, other ideas, because that's how we've evolved. Once we understand the constituent nature of how we've gotten to where we are, then all the limitations fly away. And then you say, wow, what is possible then? If legitimately I'm only light that is backed, that is reinforced by vast space, I'm all that exists simultaneously. I'm all of it in this moment. What can I do with that? The answer, obviously, is whatever the hell you want. No one, no light or space would be able to stop you. I leave you here. Adonai.